Hi everybody, this is Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au. Welcome to Hotspot of the Week. One of the really basic formulas that we often apply to our research when trying to find the future outperformers in real estate markets around Australia is this simple equation: infrastructure plus jobs nodes plus affordability equals price growth. And basically what this says is that a lot of people seeking homes want to buy affordably or rent affordably in an area of good infrastructure close to where they work. There's been plenty of research which shows that one of the prime determinants of where people choose to live, whether it's renting or buying, is that they want to be close to where they work. They also want to be in an area that's affordable in terms of their income, and preferably an area that's affordable with really good infrastructure. So all of that speaks to the area I want to highlight today, and that is the city of Salisbury in the northern suburbs of Adelaide. It's timely because this week we publish the latest new edition of our Top 5 Adelaide Hotspots report as a precursor to my visit to Adelaide a couple of weeks from now for a seminar that I'm running on the 17th of October. The city of Salisbury, it's one of those really affordable areas up in the north of Adelaide, but it really speaks to this basic formula where this part of Adelaide is the nerve centre of really big jobs nodes, major industrial estates, a major defence facility, and a whole lot more. Most of the publicity you might have read about this area of Perth in recent times has been a negative, typical of media, unfortunately, and that was the closure of the Holden's car plant. But that negative, we think, is well and truly surpassed by the many positives that exist in that area. And that site, incidentally, has already been repurposed in a major way. I'll get to that in a little moment. But the city of Salisbury, very affordable, great rental yields, proximate to lots of really big jobs nodes. The background is that Adelaide currently has one of the most active property markets in capital city Australia. The state economy is improving. There are really big growth drivers in the system. It's going to surprise a lot of people when they see what Adelaide does in the next 12 months or the next couple of years. Vacancies are below average, demand is rising, the yields are strong, the value for money is great compared to the bigger cities, and the top end of the market, the prestige properties, are showing really strong price growth, and that's usually a market leader, the precursor to an upcycle. So against that background, this particular area I think is one that's really worthy of attention, particularly for people looking for affordability and above average rental yields. So the city of Salisbury, it's about 25 kilometres north of the Adelaide CBD. It's the second largest local government area in South Australia. It's one that's been growing strongly, and it's tipped to continue growing. The current population is about 140,000, but it's expected that in the next 20 years that population will grow to about 155,000. There's land available for future residential developments. One of the big things about this area is that the very major jobs nodes that exist. An example of this is a 600 hectare ongoing development, which is called the Edinburgh Parks Industrial Estate. It's divided into 4 precincts. There's aerospace, manufacturing, defence technology, logistics support, and automotive industries. Just to give you an idea, the importance of this in the major entities that have a presence there. Coles has got a $125 million distribution centre. Ingham's got a $100 million food processing facility, etc., etc. Some really big name companies have a presence there, and this is one of the major employers in the northern part of Adelaide. We also have the Edinburgh North Industrial Precinct. We've got the Vicinity Industrial Base. We have the Technology Park, Mawson Lakes, and perhaps the biggest of all, the Edinburgh Defence Facility, the RAF Base Edinburgh, and a whole lot of other defence-related industries that are clustered in this area, known as the Edinburgh Defence Precinct. So lots of jobs up in that part of Adelaide, expanding all the time. And another part of the fabric of life up there is the Mawson Lakes developments, which is an ongoing long-term master planned community $3 billion project, joint venture between Lendlease, one of the big developers of Australia, the state government, the local council, the Land Management Corporation, the University of South Australia. So it's a really big enterprise. It's got already 12,000 residents, and it continues to expand. There's a university campus there which has 4,000 students. So that's part of the, although this part of the Adelaide property market is considered to be generally down market, it does include developments such as Mawson Lakes, which is helping to raise the tone, improve the infrastructure, and generally add to the growth of this area. It also has Adelaide's second airport, the Parafield Airport, and that's slated for expansion as well. Against that background, a really interesting property market. The first thing that stands out about it is affordability. Not the most affordable part of the Adelaide market. That gong goes to the neighbouring Playford local government area, but certainly very affordable. There's a couple of suburbs. It's a big LGA, Salisbury. It's got about 30 suburbs. A couple of them have median prices in the 200,000s, but most, practically all of them, have median prices somewhere in the low to mid 300,000s. High turnover market, suburbs like Parafield Gardens and Paralowie have 250, 270 house sales in a typical year. One of the standout features of this market is that vacancies are extremely low. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8 postcodes making up the Salisbury local government area, and pretty much all of them have vacancy rates below 1%. Here's a postcode 0.2%, another one 0.4%, another 0.5%. So very, very tight rental market. And that is part of the reason why the rental yields are pretty good. Most of the suburbs in this local government area have median rental yields above 5%, and some of them are above 6%, particularly the cheaper parts. Not quite as attractive as I said, the neighbouring Playford local government area. The cheapest real estate in capital city Australia in Playford, and the highest rental yields. But Salisbury perhaps would appeal to some investors because it's a little bit more upmarket. The pricing is a little bit higher, the yield's a little bit lower, but the standard perhaps not as scary to some investors who are a little bit frightened off by down market areas. Strong prospects for the future. The Salisbury is identified state government planning as a very high growth area. They're planning to increase the number of homes in the area by about 20,000 over the next 2 or 3 decades. Being serviced by a major new road infrastructure project, the Northern Connector, which is going to be a 6-lane motorway worth developments. Not much change out of $1 billion for this particular project, servicing that northern part of Adelaide. The Parafield Airport, the second airport of Adelaide, is going to undergo further development, which will result in a 61% increase in the number of flights. So that's going to be a major enterprise. The Edinburgh RAF base, I mentioned that this defence facility, one of the biggest in Australia, currently undergoing upgrades costing $660 million. And then there's a further expansion and upgrade of that facility to follow, which will be costing $1.2 billion. And that's going to create a lot more jobs in this particular area. And that's part of the prime appeal of the Salisbury local government area's property market. But one of the really significant things is the revamp of the General Motors Holden plant. Now that closed down quite recently amid much negative publicity and the usual alarmist media headlines. But as is so often the case, a negative can turn into a positive. The site of the former Holden car plant has been bought by the Pellagra Group and is being redeveloped into a high-tech manufacturing hub. We actually saw that happen in another part of Adelaide. It used to be in the southern part of Adelaide. There was a Mitsubishi car plant some years ago. It closed down, and that's been repurposed as a high-tech innovation facility, a very major one, which is absolutely thriving, and similar things are expected for this. It's going to be called the Lionsgate Business Park. It's a $250 million development to repurpose the former Holden car plant site. Holden itself is leasing back 30% of the development because it's It's closed down its car manufacturing plant, but it's going to continue to have a parts and servicing operation there, and that's going to account for 30% of the lettable area of this new business park that's evolving from the ashes of the closure of the car plant. And other businesses are also committed to taking up residence in the Lionsgate Business Park, including a business called Australian Crane and Machinery with a couple of hundred employees. Also some very big residential developments in this particular part of Adelaide. We've got the Penfield Urban Development by A.B. Jennings, $700 million project. The Blakeville Urban Development Stage 2 by Lendlease, $750 million project. Then we've got Blakeview West, $500 million, and then Blakeview East by the Fairmount Group joint venture, another $500 million. There's a lot more happening up there as well. I won't go into all of it, but suffice to say that there's a big future for this part of Adelaide, both in terms of jobs nodes, government infrastructure, the road infrastructure, Northern Connector project I mentioned, but particularly expansion of residential and commercial industrial facilities creating jobs. So very affordable market, very low vacancies, high rental yields, strong demand coming out of the fact that there are so many jobs up there and people want to buy affordably or rent affordably close to where they work. So a market with prospects in a city with strong prospects. That's the city of Salisbury in the northern part of Adelaide, which is one of those markets that we think is going to surprise a lot of people with its growth in the next year or two. If you're interested in finding out more about the city of Salisbury, you can go to the Hotspotting website and go to the location reports page, and you'll find a report on the city of Salisbury, and also a reminder that today, in fact, we published the new edition of our Top 5 Adelaide's Hotspots report, which includes the report on the city of Salisbury. So probably the most cost-effective way to find out about that market and others in Adelaide that are worth knowing about is to get the Top 5 Adelaide report and read that, and you'll understand a little bit more about why we are bullish about the city of Salisbury and Adelaide generally as a property market. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from Hotspotting signing off. Talk to you again soon.